Welcome to Charts This Week. My name's David Linton, a run updater, and this week, wow, we've got a lot of charts to look at, a lot of requests from you as well, and I'll do my best to get through as many charts as possible. First, we'll take a look at stock markets. Then we'll go to the euro, a lot happening with the euro, and we'll look at some commodities towards the end. The S&P 500 index didn't really recover last week. We're through the cloud on this on the daily price now. We seesawed in the cloud and we're below the cloud, but it's a bit early to say that the lagging line is through the cloud, although it is nudging the cloud from the other side. So really quite a key week for the S&P 500. We do on the shorter term 1 minute chart, it's Monday morning UK time. If we do see this afternoon, we do have targets of 1102, 1096 and 1099. So all roads short term are pointing back to testing this 1100 level on the S&P, but we do have a downside target of 1032, which would be activated back once we start making new lows on the market. But we've got a basing pattern, does suggest a little bit of a recovery in the S&P this week. And the key charts to watch, this is the FTSE this morning, this is the hourly chart on the FTSE having just opened, and here we see that we're actually nudging up through the cloud on the 60-minute chart. So maybe this is also a sign that we are seeing a little bit of a transition this week. So markets may well recover. Keep an eye for any signs of new lows. That would, of course, be bearish. And now looking at the euro, well, what a time the euro's been having. It's been falling away. This is the base level that we'd look back to, the pattern beginning at the end of 2008 and beginning of 2009, where we tested this 125 area on euro dollar. This big sort of first move, the recovery, that is the first selling thrust. We're through that recovery and now heading back towards here. It really does look like we're heading back to the bottom of the range. And the point and figure chart on the euro does have this downside target of 126, suggesting that we are going back to the base of the pattern. So really quite key on the euro here. And here's the 60-minute chart of the euro over the last month or so. We have had temporary breaches of the cloud, but really we are bearish below the cloud here on the euro. So really quite key that the euro just does not look good at all. And even on the short-term chart, this is the 1 minute chart, this will probably be out of date already by the time you look at it. But what we're looking for here, we've got upside targets of 137.15 and 134.85. These are the targets. We're sitting at 136, almost dead this morning. If we break this 136.40 level, then we'd look to 137.15. But if we break the 135.85 level, we'd be at 134.85. There's lots of downside pressure here. You're seeing the downside targets met and exceeded. That's bearish confirmation. It really does still look quite bearish on the euro. And in fact, one of our clients in a bank in Sweden asked me to look at the euro SEK. Well, you'd been used to getting 11 kronas in Sweden to the euro. It's through this 10 level, very classic sort of head and shoulders pattern. We've tested from the other side and we're now falling away. It's 9.89 this morning. Get used to seeing 9 Swedish kronas to the euro. It's the euro is getting weaker, and not just against the dollar. And here now we're looking at oil. Lots of you been commenting and asking about oil. It's IPE week in London at the moment, and the conversation will inevitably be about where's the oil price going. This lagging line staying, not managing to get back above the cloud last week is a little bit of a worry. And we have sort of come through the cloud, tested that we haven't managed to break back above the cloud, and the longer we hold this position, the more it looks like this trend is over. We've got to stay above $74. This morning we're at $74.04. We need to stay above $74 really to be comfortable that this trend is recovering, and that burden is increasing as we go on. Later in the month it'll be at $76. So we've really got to stay above these levels and ideally make new highs on oil. So sideways range, slowing down, starting to look a little bit concerning that we're not getting back above this cloud. So this could be the start of something. It's really quite key. And if we look at the 60-minute chart on oil, it really says it all. We had this dramatic recovery. You remember when we called it a couple of weeks ago, we said it's a buy. It reversed very quickly and went back through and went as low as intraday as about $69.50. this $70 level is really key. If we close below $70, very scary. So we've got to basically maintain this $70 level, and it would be good, ideally, to see the oil getting back above this sort of high that we saw. 78 would be ideal, really, to be sure of a recovery. And here we see the 60-minute chart again. The $77 level is quite key. This is actually on Brent, so there's much the same picture on Brent. We've got to break above $77, or we've got to hold this 69 level. 69.17 on Brent. It's $69. Just slight variations in the price, but the picture is very much the same. Ideally, the key thing is if we close below the $70 level on WTI, if you see the US market closing below the $70 level, we've got downside targets into the mid-50s. $53 is the level if we close below $70 on WTI. And likewise, if we can get above this high of 83, then we've got targets to a $111, $109. So really, we're on a knife edge with oil. It's got to break either way, and until we get this break, it's still quite hard to call, but the downside is increasing. Here this morning we do have mini upside targets, 75.80, 75.15 on WTI. We probably have to wait for the US to kick in to actually see these targets being met. Little target of 74.30 was met, and we've now got a little downside target. There is support though on oil this morning, so one would hope we would hold the lows on oil. And if we look at an even shorter term target, this is a 2.5 cent chart, a little bit more sensitive. The 75.12, 75.27 levels there, we did hit the 74. We've gone into congestion. We got back down to the 73.75. We're testing support on oil right now. These charts are changing in real time all the time, so you've got to keep quite a keen eye on these. Last of all, a lot of you have asked me to look at power again. Power is bearish. This is German baseload, the hourly chart. We need to close above 48.50. We need a move above 48.50 on the 60-minute basis to even be bullish on power. So it's still looking pretty bearish, and the downside targets are still there. Notice we had this downside target given right back here at 47.50 was the target given. This was given back in end of January, and we've hit this 47.50 level at this morning, or it's 47.65. This is a bearish chart. Downside target of 46.20, another of 47. So get used to it. Power is falling. Here are all the downside targets. Of course, this chart again is a 1-minute chart. If we see upside targets kicking in on power, this is where you'll see it first. That's it for this week. Remember, I'm always happy to cover any aspects you want. Just email me and I'll do my best to cover it next time. Until next week, happy charting. See you then.